Good morning, everyone. My name is Miss Autumn, and I am the Youth Services Librarian at the Harnett County Public Library. And this is my puppy, Copper, and we are coming at you for the second virtual story time of our summer reading program. This week, we are going to celebrate fairy tales. But before we get into all that, I know you guys love to get your Copper kiss, so he is going to come and give you a kiss through the camera right now. All right, I'm going to put Copper down now that he has given you your kiss, and we are going to get started with story time. So like I was saying, we are celebrating fairy tales this week, and we have some special guests that are coming to our story time today. So I'm not going to be reading the books today at our story time. We are actually going to invite some of our local teachers to read stories to you. So I'll tell you a little bit about them later. First, I want to talk about fairy tales. So fairy tales are usually made-up stories, and they have things in them like kings or queens, maybe princesses, princes, unicorns, fairies, and maybe even some dragons. So we're going to see all kinds of characters in our stories today. Before we read our first story, we are going to do our hello song like we usually do. And if you guys remember, our hello song uses a little bit of sign language, and that's where we talk with our hands. So can you find your hands this morning? Can you give them a shake and wake them up? Maybe shake them up high and touch the sky, and then bring them all the way down low and touch your toes. All right, so you're ready. You got them warmed up. So we're going to go through each of our signs and learn them first, and then we'll sing our song together. So our first sign is hello, and that's where you take your hand to your forehead, and then you go out like a salute. Can you guys do that? So hand on your forehead, and then go out. All right, you got it. Our next sign is friend. So we take one little friend, point our finger up, and another little friend, and then we give them a hug. All right, you guys are doing great. Our next sign is it's time, so we point to our wrist like we have a watch on there. And the last one is to say, so you put your finger right under your lip, and then you go out. All right, you guys are doing an amazing job. Are you ready to sing our hello song together? All right, here we go. So we're going to put our hand on our head and get ready for our hello. Hello, friends. Hello, friends. Hello, friends. It's time to say hello. Awesome job, guys. All right, we're going to try that one more time. So do you remember where our hello goes? Up on our head. You're right. All right, here we go. Hello, friends. Hello, friends. Hello, friends. It's time to say hello. Awesome job, guys. Now that we have said hello and good morning to each other, are you guys ready for a book? So our first book today is going to be read by Miss Lisa Rayner, and she is the media coordinator at Boone Trail Elementary School. And I'm going to let her take it away.
Hi everyone, my name's Lisa Rayner and I'm the media coordinator at Boone Trail Elementary School. And today I'm going to share with you a fairy tale titled Cindy Ellen, A Wild Western Cinderella, written by Susan Lowell and illustrated by Jane Manning. Once there was a rancher who married for his second wife, the honoriest woman west of the Mississippi. She was meaner than a rattlesnake, and she had 2 daughters who were the spitting image of her. The rancher also had a daughter who was just as sweet and gentle as she could be. Her name was Cindy Ellen. Cindy was a pretty good cowgirl, too. Riding her little gray horse, she wrangled and roped and galloped and loped with the best buckaroos on the range. But as soon as the wedding was over, that snaky old stepmother began to pick on poor Cindy Ellen. She was so good she made her stepsisters look bad, so her stepmother made her do all the dirty work around the ranch. "Mend those fences, tend those cows," she would yell, "and shovel out that corral." The stepsisters never did a lick of work all day, but Cindy didn't dare complain to her daddy because his new wife wore the pants in the family. When her chores were done, the poor girl used to sit down and rest among the ashes and cinders at the edge of the fireplace. So her older stepsister named her Cinderbottom. The younger sister called her Cinderella, but underneath her dirty old clothes, Cindy Ellen was still as pretty as a peach. Then one day, the biggest cattle king for miles around invited all of his neighbors to a 2-day celebration. First, a wild and woolly rodeo, and then a square dance, a real Western fandango. Cindy's stepsisters puffed up like 2 turkey gobblers. Even though they couldn't ride, they decided to gussy themselves up, fit to kill, and enter the rodeo. Nice, patient Cindy Ellen ignored their frilly shirts and frizzed their hair for them. "Don't you wish you could go too, Cinderbottom?" sneered the older sister. "Oh, you're just poking fun at me," said Cindy sadly. "You're right," laughed the younger sister. "Nobody can tell you from a cloud of dust, Cinderella." As soon as they were gone, poor Cindy Ellen broke down and cried. Then suddenly she heard a noise outside, almost like gunfire, but not quite. It wasn't bang bang, it was more like bing bing, and there stood a little old lady with a golden pistol still smoking in her hand. "Who are you?" gasped Cindy Ellen. "Say hello to your fairy godmother, Sugarfoot," the old lady said. She twirled the pistol, slapped it back into its holster, and took a good hard look at Cindy. "What's the matter with you, honey? You're as down and dirty as a flop-eared hound dog. Stand up straight. Dust yourself off." "I want to go to the rodeo," sobbed Cindy Ellen. "Can you help?" "Maybe see, maybe no," said the fairy godmother. "Magic is plumb worthless without gumption. What you need first, gal, is some gravel in your gizzard, grit, guts. Stop that tomfool blubbering and let's get busy. Time's a-wasting." She reached for her golden 6 gun and Cindy yelled, "Don't shoot!" But her godmother had already fired straight up in the air. Bing ping! Glittery sparkles floated down from the sky and sprinkled Cindy all over with fairy dust. Instantly, her heart was filled with strength and happiness, and her rags turned into the finest riding clothes west of the east. A creamy white Stetson hat crowned her shining hair. Golden buckskin chaps encircled her legs, and a pretty little pair of cowboy boots hugged her feet like gloves. Buckled to the heel of each boot was a spur that shot out rays of fiery light. Those spurs were set with diamonds as big as sugar lumps. "Now," said her fairy godmother briskly, "where's that horse of yours?" She fired her magic pistol into the air. Zing! And Cindy's little gray horse became a silver horse with a softly sparkling coat. His hoofs glittered as he pawed the ground. "Hit the trail, honey," the old lady said. "Remember, there ain't no horse that can't be rode, and there ain't no man that can't be throwed. And one more thing, get home by midnight, gal, or you'll be sorry." When Cindy Ellen pulled up at the rodeo, everybody turned and stared at the dazzling stranger on the silver horse. The rich rancher's son, a rodeo champion by the name of Joe Prince, came forward wearing the biggest belt buckle you ever saw and swept his hat off his head. "Pleased to meet you, ma'am," he said. "Likewise," said Cindy. Just then, Cindy's older stepsister rode a bucking bronco into the arena, and before she could say oopsie daisy, that cayuse wrinkled his spine, boiled over, and sent her chasing clouds way up in the sky. Then she bit the dust. Next came the second stepsister, but she couldn't ride a rail fence in a stiff breeze, and pretty soon she was eating gravel just like her sister. Cindy Ellen helped her stepsisters up and brushed them off, but they never even recognized her. Then she remembered her godmother's gift of gumption, and she gave Joe Prince a big daredevil grin. "My turn," said Cindy Ellen. Cindy Ellen climbed aboard a salty bronc with a belly full of bed springs, a real rip snorter. She touched him with her diamond spurs, and first he tried to crow hop, and then he catbacked, and he sunfished, and he windmilled, and he jackknifed, but Cindy stuck to the saddle like a postage stamp. "Ride 'em, cowgirl," cried the crowd, and Cindy Ellen was the winner with every curl in place. Next, with a figure 8, a butterfly, and a wedding ring, she won the trick roping event. And then she and her little horse really burned the breeze. They kicked the jackrabbits right off the trail. They left their shadows 20 miles behind them, and they won the horse race. They even beat Joe Prince. But Joe didn't seem to care. He rode herd on Cindy Ellen right up to 11:45 at night, when she suddenly recalled her godmother's warning and went galloping home. By the time she got there, her fine duds had shriveled into sorry rags again, but she still had plenty of gumption. After a while, her stepsisters hobbled in, all stove up from the rodeo. "Ha ha, you missed the champion cowgirl," the older sister jeered. "Nobody knows her name or where she disappeared to." "And that old Joe Prince is eating his heart out," said the younger one. "I bet she comes to the square dance tomorrow night," said Cindy with her new daredevil grin. The next evening, her stepsisters got all dressed up like a sore thumb and strutted away to the dance, leaving Cindy Ellen all alone. But not for long. "What's that?" she said, peeking out the window. It looked like a cross between a comet and a dust storm. It sounded like silver bells mixed with dynamite. "Let's get crackin', Sweet Pea," shouted her fairy godmother. "You're late. Rustle me up the biggest, dustiest, lumpiest squash you can find." And zingo! The squash became a stagecoach. "Next, we check the trap line," said her godmother. Quick as a wink, she turned 6 cactus mice into 6 dappled horses, a fat pack rat into a stagecoach driver, and a rough, tough, horned toad into a stagecoach guard, riding shotgun beside the driver. "But what about my ugly clothes?" asked Cindy. The old lady answered with a blast of fairy dust that melted into a dress that shone like the sun, the moon, and the stars all together. The girl floated over petticoats as soft and puffy as summer clouds. A rainbow of jewels glowed around Cindy Ellen's neck, and the little diamond spurs sparkled once more upon her boot heels. "Thank you, ma'am," she cried. The fairy godmother blew the smoke from her pistol, holstered it, and dusted off her hands. "Remember, Miss Cindy, pretty is as pretty does," she said. "Magic can backfire, midnight or bust." Cindy promised, and the stagecoach rumbled away. When Cindy Ellen arrived at the Cattle King's square dance, the fiddlers were tuning up for a toe-tapping jamboree. Joe Prince reached for Cindy's hand the instant he laid eyes on her. "Buckle on your partners, folks," he called, "and tell 'em to hang on. Let's shake our hooves like lightning until the early dawn." And Cindy answered, "Hurry up, cowboy, don't be slow. Alamande, left and do-si-do." Hand over hand and heel over heel, Joe and Cindy danced the daisy chain, the whirl away, the curly cue, and the grand sachet. They made their feet go wickety-whack. "Swing 'em, boys," cried Cindy, "and do it right." And Joe called back, "Swing those girls till the middle of the night." Twirling, swirling, Cindy Ellen lost track of time until all at once she heard the clock begin to strike 12. She hightailed it out of there lickety-split. "Whoa!" yelled Joe, hot on her heels, but he couldn't catch her. One of the diamond spurs fell off Cindy's boot as she ran, though, and Joe picked it up carefully out of the dust. Meanwhile, back at the ranch, not a particle remained of Cindy's gorgeous outfit, except for the second diamond spur, which she tucked away in her hip pocket. Pretty soon, word got out that the champion cowgirl was a wanted woman. She'd left Joe Prince so lovelorn that he was tracking her throughout the territory, and he vowed to marry the horsewoman whose boot fitted the little diamond spur. He tried it on many a foot, but not one could wear it. At last he came riding up to Cindy's father's place. "Go shovel out the stable," hissed the stepmother, and Cindy reluctantly obeyed. First, Joe tried the diamond spur on the younger stepsister, but no matter how he stretched the straps, her hoof was too big. The older sister had crushed her feet into little bitty boots, so just for an instant the spur almost fitted. But then her boot split open and her toes popped out like puppies from a basket, and Joe Prince muttered, "Sorry," and headed for the door. "My turn," said a voice that stopped him in his tracks. It was Cindy Ellen. And although her mean stepsisters almost died laughing, Joe let Cindy have her chance, fair and square, and when he put the diamond spur around her dirty little boot, it fitted perfectly. Then she pulled out the second diamond spur and buckled it onto her other boot, and at that very moment, Cindy's little horse gave a whinny, and everyone heard a noise like... "Wingo, wango, kazing! Let her rip!" shouted Cindy Ellen's fairy godmother, brandishing her golden pistol. "Hold your fire!" yelled Joe Prince. But glistening sparks of fairy dust were already sprinkling down everywhere. They turned Cindy's clothes from cotton to satin, and they put quite a twinkle in Joe's eye. And Cindy's horse began to sparkle. "Yee-haw!" yelled the fairy godmother. So Cindy Ellen and Joe Prince got hitched and lived happily ever after in a ranch house full of love and rodeo trophies. Cindy's family moved to town, where both stepsisters married city slickers, and Cindy's little horse kept his sparkling coat and his glittering hooves to the end of his days. And that's the end of Cindy Ellen, A Wild Western Cinderella. I hope you enjoyed it, and keep reading.
All right, did you guys like that story with Miss Rayner? I hope you did. So we are going to do a little song now and just get moving a little bit and do one of our favorite Storytime songs called Rollie Pollie. So if you guys remember Rollie Pollie, you stick your hands up like this, you make a fist, and you roll them around. And first we're going to stretch up, and then we're going to come all the way down. All right, here we go. Rollie Pollie, Rollie Pollie, up, 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 up. Rollie, Rollie Pollie, Rollie, Rollie Pollie, down, 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 down. All right, now we're gonna stretch out as wide as you can with your arms. And then the opposite of out is in. Rollie Pollie, Rollie Pollie, out, 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 out. Rollie, Rollie Pollie, Rollie, Rollie Pollie, in, 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 in. All right, so now we're gonna do the last one, which is always my Storytime's friends' most favorite one. And we're gonna go as fast as we can, so can you move your hands really fast? Fast, 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 fast. And then we're gonna go slow. All right, you got it. Here we go. Rollie Pollie, Rollie Pollie, fast, 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 fast. Rollie, Rollie Pollie, Rollie, Rollie Pollie, slow, 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 slow. Awesome job, guys. So now that we have done Rollie Pollie, we are ready for our second story today. And that story is going to be read by Miss Haley Nash, and she is a teacher over at Lillington Shawtown Elementary School. So here we go.
Happy Dreamer by Peter Reynolds. I'm a happy dreamer. I'm really good at dreaming. Daydreams, big dreams, little dreams, creative dreams. Dreamer Maximus. Sometimes the world tells me, sit still, be quiet, pay attention, focus. But my dreams have a mind of their own. Sometimes my mind just takes flight. I hear a beat and I gotta move. Then I hear another and another. Wish you could hear inside my head. Trumpety zigzag jazz. Sometimes I'm a quiet dreamer. When I make time to stay still and hear myself think, to let go and see what takes shape. Do you see that? Sometimes I'm a swing high dreamer, way up high, beyond the clouds, so high I can touch the sky. I can also be a loud dreamer. Hello, world! I'm a shout at the top of my lungs dreamer, even if I'm just a loud inside my head dreamer. Sometimes I'm a colorful dreamer, painting my own path, full of surprises at every turn. I can dream even when the lights are out, all circuits on, fireworks. I light up. I'm all ears, eyes, heart, and mind. I have so many dreams, it can get messy. Creative chaos. Cleaning up hides my treasures. If you make me, I will put my things away. But then there is less me to show. These are the moments I feel alone, boxed in. And yet, I always find a way back, plunging into amazing, delightful, happy dreams. I'm really good at being me, a dreamer, surprising, caring, funny, gentle, smart. And when I tumble back to earth, I know I'm okay. Dreamers have a way of bouncing back and moving forward. There are so many ways to be a happy dreamer. What kind of dreamer are you?
All right, so now that we have read Miss Nash's story, I'm going to get my flannel board out and I'm going to tell you a story with it. So I have got some fairy tale characters that you might see in stories, and I want to show them to you guys today. Do you know what this is? If you said princess, that's right. She could also be a queen too. All right, our next one is a prince. You see both the princess and the prince are wearing their crowns. That's why Copper and I are wearing crowns today too, while we're celebrating fairy tales. Our next fairy tale character is a fairy. You see the fairy and her beautiful wings and her magical wand? And our last character today is, I bet you know what this is. It's a dragon. Do you see him roaring his fire? And put him right there. So we are going to use our imaginations today, and we are going to pretend to be each one of these fairy tale characters by doing different actions that they would normally do. So for our princess, we are going to curtsy like a princess, and that's usually what she does when you address her. So to curtsy like a princess, you usually hold on to the side of your dress or your shirt and you bend down. For a prince, he is going to bow. So we are going to pretend to bow like a prince. And the way you bow usually is you put one arm in front of you and one arm behind you, and then you bend down. And then the next one is a fairy. And since our fairy has little wings, we are going to fly like a fairy today. And the last one, like I said, is a dragon. And you guys might can imagine what we're going to do to pretend to be a dragon today. We are going to roar like a dragon. And I know my Storytime friends like to roar, and they can usually roar really loud here in the library. So I want to hear you all the way from home when we roar like a dragon, okay? And we're going to pretend to breathe out fire too while we roar. All right, so what we're going to do now is Miss Autumn is going to sing a song, and we are going to do the actions together. Are you guys ready? All right, so like I said, the first one is curtsy like a princess. So here we go. Curtsy like a princess, just like so. Curtsy like a princess, just like so. Curtsy like a princess, just like so. Curtsy like a princess. All right, you guys are doing great. Next, we're going to bow like a prince. Here we go. Bow like a prince, just like so. Bow like a prince, just like so. Bow like a prince, just like so. Bow like a prince. All right. Next, we're going to fly like a fairy. So use your imaginations and pretend you have fairy wings. All right, here we go. Fly like a fairy, just like so. Fly like a fairy, just like so. Fly like a fairy, just like so. Fly like a fairy. All right, for our last one, we're going to pretend to be great big dragons, and we're going to roar and breathe out our fire. Can you pretend to do that with me today? All right, remember, I want to hear your roars from home, so roar really loud. Here we go. Roar like a dragon, just like so. Can you roar? Roar! Roar like a dragon, just like so. Roar! Roar like a dragon, just like so. Roar! Roar like a dragon. All right, one more big loud roar. You ready? Roar! Awesome job, guys. Thank you for playing with me today and using your imaginations to pretend to be fairy tale characters with me. I hope you had fun, because I sure did. All right, so we have one more special guest today, and she's going to read our last fairy tale of the day. And our last guest is Miss Tracey Gaines, and she is the media coordinator for Lafayette Elementary School. So I'm going to let her take it away.
Hello, boys and girls. I'm Tracey Gaines, and I am the school librarian at Lafayette Elementary. And today, my frog friend Finn and I are going to share the story, The Frog Prince. It's a fairy tale with a twist.
You have to kiss a lot of frogs to find your prince. I bet you've heard that one before. And I bet you're thinking, ooh, kissing a frog would be gross. Well, I just happen to be the former frog who inspired that saying. My name is Prince Puckett. And let me tell you, that kiss was no picnic for me either. Here's the real story. I was playing baseball the day Hank's mom turned me into a frog. One moment I was about to catch Hank's pop fly, which would give my team the championship. And the next moment I was flopping around on the ground with more legs than I knew what to do with. Sorry, kid, Hank's mom called as she was let out of the ballpark. To break the spell, just get a princess to kiss you, but she can't know you're a prince. Well, whether I was a prince or a frog, I wasn't about to kiss any girl. And I soon found that being a frog had its perks. I could see almost all the way around my head. I could swim and dive like nobody's business. And boy, could I jump. I jumped and jumped all the way to a new home, near a well under an old linden tree. One day I was playing kick the mushroom with my frog buddies when I heard the unmistakable sound of a ball smacking into a glove. That's the princess, Mickey told me. She's always coming out here to practice. I listened to the smack, 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 and I wished that I could be just a regular baseball-playing prince again. Then it happened. Smack, smack, plunk! The ball landed in the well. That was my lucky ball, the princess cried. The gang gathered around me. If you offer to get the ball, she'll offer to pay you back somehow, Willie said. Then you can ask for that kiss. Go on, Harmon prodded. Think of your teammates back home. I worked up my courage and jumped beside her. Would you like me to get your ball? I asked. You? She asked. Well, I guess it wouldn't hurt to try. I hopped into the well and kicked the ball out. How can I ever repay you? The princess asked. Just ask and it's yours. You can? I stammered. Finally, I blurted out, a kiss! I want you to kiss me. Blah, the princess said. We stared at each other. She leaned toward me. I leaned toward her. Nope, can't do it, she said. She took her ball and ran away. Well, that made me a little mad. A deal's a deal, right? It took me a while, but jump by jump, I followed her back to her castle. The princess wouldn't open the door, but I stood there croaking loudly until her father, the king himself, let me in. I told him about our agreement. My daughter must keep her word, the king assured me in a booming voice. Then he plopped me down on the dinner table right next to her. The princess looked the other way. I'll kiss you after we eat, she said. Promise. But as soon as she'd swallowed her last bite of lemon tart, she dashed up the stairs. I hopped right after her. I'll kiss you right before I go to sleep, she said. But she pulled the covers over her head and quickly began to fake snore. I spotted her lucky ball in the corner. Well, I guess I'll be going now, I said. Since you won't kiss me, I'll just be taking this. The princess flung off the covers. No, wait, I'll do it. She picked me up and held me to her face. She closed her eyes. I closed my eyes. Then her lips touched mine. Ugh, we both shrieked. I felt myself being hurled into the air, and suddenly I was stumbling around with 2 legs and 2 arms that I didn't know what to do with. You're a prince, she said. What an arm, I said.
Did we fall in love, get married, and live happily ever after? No way. but my team got a great new starting pitcher. The end. What'd you think, Finn? Did you like it? I think it's cute. I hope you enjoyed it as well. Thanks for joining us for story time. It's been a pleasure reading to you.
All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed that last story, and I hope you enjoyed all the stories today at Storytime, and I hope you have a better idea of what a fairy tale is. So, like we always do, after all of our stories are read and all of our activities are done, we are going to end Storytime now with bubbles. Are you ready? So if you have some bubbles at home, get them out and blow bubbles with us today.
Bubbles, bubbles everywhere. Bubbles, bubbles in the air. Bubbles rise and bubbles drop. Watch the bubbles pop. Bubbles, bubbles everywhere. Bubbles, bubbles we can share. Bubbles rise and bubbles drop. Watch the bubbles pop. Bubbles, bubbles everywhere. Bubbles landing in your hair. Bubbles rise and bubbles drop. Watch the bubbles pop. Bubbles, bubbles everywhere. Bubbles, bubbles in the air. Bubbles rise and bubbles drop. Watch the bubbles pop. Bubbles, bubbles everywhere. Bubbles, bubbles we can share. Bubbles rise and bubbles drop. Watch the bubbles pop. Bubbles, bubbles everywhere. Bubbles landing in your hair. Bubbles rise and bubbles drop. Watch the bubbles pop. Pop.
All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed all of those bubbles and had fun with them. So I did want to show you our craft today that goes with our fairy tale story time. If you've got one of those early literacy summer reading bags at home, is our fairy tale sticker sheet. So you've got a castle background and all of these fairy tale characters, some of them we talked about in story time today, and you can make your own fairy tale scene at home with these stickers. Hope you have fun doing it, and if you guys want to show them to us, having fun with Storytime or Storytime crafts, you can post them to our Facebook page using the hashtag HarnetSRP2020. All right, guys, that's all for Storytime today. Copper and I enjoyed reading fairy tales with you all. So until next week, be safe, and we'll see you later. Bye.